Greetings and salutations. This is Aurora, and we are the May 5th, 2022, broadcasting live today with a special message at heart for all to be upgraded with the final events energies update. So, practically, we have been going on hardcore missions in uniting the churches and the 50 states that are currently severely disunited. So in these matters, on Sunday, we had the grace to go to the Catholic St. Luke's as well as St. Andrew's on the South End Methodist Church, where I was blessed to be able to commune by the grace of their Irish pastor at the Catholic Church. And it so seemed like the Catholic team was spreading false rumors about me on the South End due to the deep infiltration and MK Ultra programming of Lucifer by Cristal Cordoba, his terrorist bride number 1, let alone the terrorist bride number 2, Christina Pushkina. So those topics now on the table alongside his third wife. We are now, Lucifer and I, going to kind of explain to you all, the processes of mission and why these things have occurred the way they have. So number one, for all to know, the religious war going on currently in the Levant is based on Islam versus Druze, Jews, Catholics, meaning Christians and beyond. It's all a war regarding whose God is the real God and who ain't. So the Muslims in all this, they say in the Quran, anybody that proclaims that Jesus is the Son of God is to legally, by their book, be slain. Like that is completely normal. So revisiting the Constitution on these terms, all I have to say now is that number one, constitutionally speaking, now the game that Mr. Biden has set up in my regards is unconstitutional by the fact that in his terms, if I can score that particular penis, then I am Aurora. But if I go to another penis, then I am Dima. So by that in itself, Mr. Biden is saying, anti-constitutionally speaking, that you are not all created equal under the sun. And if you all are playing this game, it means none of you right now is an American citizen. And I am very serious. This in itself goes anti-constitution. If you people want to tell me these facts, this is not going to be acclaimed, supported on any level. Now, I am filming this through my Alcatel, not the iPhone, just because I'm having a lot of technical difficulties. My, screen is like supremely cracked here. And as you see, Stephen Thompson came in and cracked it at the Lincoln and South. And then their bartender, Steven's like, you can't come here, because he'll come in with Cordoba, and then very funnily enough, I don't know that everybody hears yet on Hilton World, but I have not been really prominently doing linear type messages because I've been mostly dealing on my iPhone, which, it's 1444 now. Happy mission, unity on earth, full planetary liberation to all. Yo, yo, Constitution, yo, 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 whoop. So today, because it's this 5th of May, we are undoing all the Mexico spell work and curses because it's all programmed to complete force me, like Cinco de Mayo. My mother's name is Maya. They called it Mayo to turn me into a boy on 5 of May. And as a matter of fact, my very kind co-creators who are always, but they are forced to behave this way because there's nothing much I can say about these facts. However, Lucifer and I this morning had this intrication. He tries to secure me by igniting the day with him fornicating someone else so that I get trapped. Now he took my bike, so I can't really move much, so I can go towards his door, and then he'll post a message saying, I put a spell on you because you're mine, and then he'll say, whatever you do, you're going to lose anyway, whatever. So when he triggers me these ways, it's true that he can take me for granted, not because he can, because I know I can take myself for granted, because I know I'm a good girl, because I know I was always that dork geek who never drank, never smoked, never saw boys. I was the last one to ever get my boobs or my period. I was the last one to even date a guy. I was that person. And all the guys always called me, like they thought I was haughty, or like, that I had an ego because I always walked with my chin up. Just because I was a ballerina, I was walking with my chin up with a smile. So they were very, threatened by me and by how I carried myself, and they thought I don't like them. When in fact, I really didn't like that culture boys in my class. I liked my posters from America. I liked American boys. Like, they were my boyfriends. I was dating them etherically since forever. So now, that being mentioned, the Levant girls, like all the girls, like Jerusalemite, Phoenix girls, say some of them are born, like short, a little bit fat, dark skinned, with hair, body hair, and they're watching MTV Cribs and like music television, and they see Britney Spears and Jessica Simpson and Miley Cyrus rocking it like they've never, seen before, with like super blonde hair, partying in the USA, whatever. The type of women we are, because we are Phoenix based, we are not Latino gang based. We are transformational people. So when we see something that we think might assist us, we will go say, get highlights in the hair, try to, work our way to shift into what we feel is something that we want to embody, embrace, explore, and celebrate, which is freedom of the United States of America. We seek to be better. We are not like the Mexican, Puerto Rican, Argentinian, Costa Rican, Peru people who come here and out of spite, go get jobs behind the scenes and behind the counters, and because it's the United States, and because they feel like they're victims, and like, oh my God, they're like slavery consciousness and they hate America, and yak, they start to speak like Latino gang talk and whatever, and they manipulate American people because Americans, their moms are busy, they're at work, so the child is raised on television or whatever. So his nanny is probably, either the neighbor next door who will come babysit him and she's a Latina, or whatever else. So they're raised by these people who they view as their comfort to go-to beings that make them like a taco con queso, So like they'll go order enchilada or whatever. Now we, part of mission, when I came here, with all the teachings and the olive oil, the grape leaves, the Mediterranean sea salt, the olive culture, the way we were raised, like every day, we have signature dishes, and we shift it up every day according to what's going on. Like say we have, we'll do the peas with tomato, and then it always starts the same. So there's olive oil, chopped garlic, then chopped onions, then, the tomato paste, the tomato sauce, and then we'll put either the peas or the beans and every day we have a different cuisine, and it's all very Mediterranean. It's like minimalistic on, animal product. It's served with rice that we add like little spaghettini, to give it consistency. We have it with pita bread. We're very pretty healthy, is why I am really envied. Now, I came to share this information. Now, in Siesta Key and Sarasota, we all had, the Lebanese store with the thyme and the this and this. That here, they don't have that culture because they are all rooting for the Latino gang, especially at the churches. Like literally, the pastors ran toward me. They held me as if I was going to be some possessed witch that's going to be exorcised if they put a Eucharist in my mouth. But what they don't understand is I've been since forever, especially since I get out at BCTC. Before I found a place to stay, I'd go every Sunday to a different church and get to go a bunch of Eucharists, because in many of the churches they sell they offer these little wine juices, which are not wine, they're just like grape juice with a little Eucharist on top that you can take to go. So I used to take at least 7, and every day I used to go on mission. When I perform a surgery, say at the smokehouse or here or there, I'll take the Eucharist and drink the grape juice, and I'll continue my way. In public, I am deeply spiritual, and I am deeply connected. Now, the secret is that at House of the Future, they have programmed me to be in a frame of beingness that says that even God wouldn't stand me, right? And it wasn't on purpose, it was just because of how rebel of a child I always was, and I always stood up to the authorities, and I still am the same right now. So they said that even God couldn't stand me, and now I obviously have problems. God is my neighbor downstairs. This is Russell Pearson. He's a Latino guy. The Jesus guy is like around the corner, number 15. That's the Stephen Thompson guy, you know, the resurrection. So they won't open the door, you know, and it's not like I'm not good enough. It's just like the energies are never there. The door will not open, and we're trying to be helped. And, you know, it's very funny because these people that are trying to support me, like say, you know, the Wexford people whom Ashley asked me about, and I'll tell you the story in a nanosecond. Like, look at this. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. So, you know, for anybody who thinks that it turns me on to be a man, your son, I'm not your son, and I'm not going to be a man. So this whole agenda of Cinco de Mayo is really not going to like go through. So, you know, like for me to ask Stephen Thompson, like Cordoba really likes to, you know, be short and fat and, you know, with long hair and hairy arms, and she likes to go to the sun. Why don't you call it? You know, and even my maiden name is too good for it. But I'm just saying, like, to be honest with you, why are you trying to force me to be someone I'm no longer? And I never really was, and it's not my destiny to be. Instead of just telling the people that, hey, you made a mistake. You know, because I went to Beaufort. Now, how did I go to Beaufort? YouTube is like, why don't you go to 109? Why don't you go to Ocean Dunes? And we tried to get the door to open. Door don't open. So I stood in meditation and I did like a healing work because I had offered Lucifer like a session that day, which he took. So by that factor, and I was there all night in meditation, sending like laser plasma light to the whole community there that have been deceived by those deceiving acts and that have caused a global disease, then a war, due to the first fraudulent marriage where they're still trying to prove that I'm Corona, and the second fraudulent marriage where they created Ukraine-Russian war so that I fight to be my maiden self, and they still won't get it. So just so you all know, first moment I ever arrived in the United States, I had David Rogers' father, Ray Rogers, on the phone. That was the first phone call we ever made from 95 Island Circle. And he's like, spoke with me, and he's like, are you Mexican? And to me, like, that was the highest level of offense I can ever fathom or hear as a Phoenix girl / you know, Jerusalemite, whatever. By the fact that, you know, we come from a culture where we all know that, hey, we have to grow up speaking on the streets like French, Arabic, English, and on the side we all kind of like pick up either Japanese, Chinese, Spanish, you know, Italian, Portuguese, whatever we know of people on whichever continent. We're all based on the culture of expansiveness. We use the cedar trees to build Phoenician boats, to travel since the beginning of time. We were the first creator beings that came along, called the Phoenicians. We invented the first alphabet and the letter 0. We have our, you know, our main base is in Byblos, which is on the, you know, Mediterranean Sea. And that's what we're based on. You know, we invented the color pourpre, which is like, you know, a royal hue of a very dark magenta hue that we used to use to make textile and clothing. Like, we were the first ones to create those industries of clothing, royalty, beads, like jewelry, and then you know, the exchange. The truck came from my family in Tiberias, where we replaced exchanging a cow for tobacco to giving a coin, which we are the initiators of the coin, the first currency. So all these facts being said, and it is, you know, a so-called holiday, you know, if anyone that has like a brain, and, you know, to undo like the conditioning and the programming of the cabals and the grids, you know, we are transmuting all the like spell work now that is binding people to certain dates and certain false grids, because the gridology has failed. Had the gridology been able to succeed, it would have already succeeded. But every attempt, they failed again. So Ray picked me up. I was at Ocean Dunes. He came that morning, and, you know, I knew I stayed a little too long when that little mean fraud broad blonde with blue eyes, like one of those mean, evil South End women. Just, it looks like the Sally prototype, like these mean people. Just like when I posted my picture with my mom, she was in a coma, and Sally's like, she posted a photo of these Russian dolls, and then the littlest doll of the Russian dolls she pointed at, and she's like, that was me, and that I'm like a weak Russian doll, whatever. They were preparing for Christine to rob my identity, rob my child, as per the Phalange, which, is a political party over there. And basically, I now studied the whole flip technology due to my laser plasma text reversal by Andrew Ryan Profaci, who was the first one who performed the flip. So when they flipped the thing on me first, the White House here is actually the Black House, and the House of the Future is actually the White House, which is what's going on now. And why it's called House of the Future is because they stole my present moment of now and denying me access to being loved by God by telling me God doesn't stand me anyway because I am goddess anyways. I do not fall. That's why the church here, kicked me out to California, because they said I am not of God, which is not the truth. I am God's fire. Doesn't mean I am not of God. It means I am goddess. I came before all of this, and I never approved on the creation of Adam or on the extraction of Eve out of Adam's rib, which is why females hate me, because I don't play their game. So now if, God wants to make Eve into Aurora, this is what's causing the whole conflict, because she's never going to be Aurora, period, the end, no matter how many federal frauds try to make that a fact. So long story short, Ray takes me to BCGC. And I told him, like, on the way I was weeping hysterically, and I forgave him. I'm like, even though he never asked for forgiveness, I'm like, I forgive you, Ray. And I explained to him everything's going down under the sun. We get to BCGC, by the fact that I had printed or reprinted my South Carolina driver license under Dima Tabrawi, when I was in fact promised at the Metropolitan for that to be Aurora Morningstar, is the only reason why, and it was before I understood the Rainbow Morningstar versus Morningstar. I am very grateful for every mistake I made, because right standing then and there, my number was 213-519-502, and I guess they was going to give me Aurora Morningstar for that number and have me leave South Carolina. Then and there in front of the DMV, I'm like, oh, and I changed my number to my 843 number then and there right away, and I called AT&T to switch from 213 to 843, which then had me stuck to the Dima Tabrawi thing all the way until now. But had I not done that, they'd have probably given Aurora Diamond Rainbow Morningstar to Tatiana, Aurora Diamond Rainbow to Cristal, me Aurora Morningstar without even knowing, and sent me away. So every mistake I made is literally by source on purpose for me to undo your games. This is the only reason why I'm still around and I'm still doing what I'm doing. So long story short, every time Steven tries to do something for us to reunite, it turns against us. So, he was definitely trying to get me to have the door open. I'm not sure. I'm not a very good judge of character. Always, I'm pretty gullible, and I always believe in love, and I always believe, like everybody, I believe in fairy tales, kind of, because that's the way I live toward myself and others. So maybe his whole point of even having me at Ocean Zoos was to send me over there. And then on my way out of BCGs this time, I decided, because I know there's money under Dima Tabrawi, so I said, instead of Aurora Rainbow Morningstar, because I had done that after 84 days of gunpoint, and I was still Aurora Rainbow Morningstar coming out of there. This time I said my maiden name coming out of there. And it's not like it made a difference. You'd think oh my God, if I said Aurora Rainbow Morningstar, nobody was there meeting me at the exit. What if I say Dima Tabrawi, somebody's going to be there, but it doesn't matter. Because the game they're playing at the root is anti-constitutional anyway, and that's why it's impossible. That's why every time they try to so-called assist me, now I'm no longer with a bike, because my bike was left at Ocean Dunes. I told the cop, Ray, hey, what are you going to do with my bike? I don't have a lock. Last time when I locked it after BCDC, they messed with it for a month and I couldn't find it. What do you want me to do this time? He's like, well, I can't take it in the car. Well, you'll find it at 400 whatever up there at the Oaks, whatever. Well, it's not here. So now I literally don't have a bike officially anymore, which was told to me by my twin flame, Lucifer, that he really gets very jealous and bothered if I go places alone. But how do you think I feel? You have 2 wives and another baby mama, and do I not matter? I matter too. I also have feelings. So that's the longest story short. That's undoing all the Cinco de Mayo. And just for everybody to know, in Brazil, they have a flea market that is hugely popular and very big, and it's amazing. You can buy any kind of pearl or thread or clothes or any kind of anything under the sun, literally, for dirt cheap, and it's called 25 de Mayo. So that's the 52 agenda, which is what the 911 cousin over there was endorsing by lying to me all these years for his Latino buddies, because I think the Latino people have issues in terms of relation with other people. They always play victim consciousness, like Spain with Vicky, because now we have the Spain, Puerto Rico with Miguel Lamboy, you have the Costa Rica with Cristal Cordoba, you have Peru with Russell Pearson, and all these people have real hate. I mean, for all these people to team up against me and to decide to send me off to like facilities to try to prove that I'm insane so that they can get away with robbing me, and that's not very well at all. For all the cops in Miami to be like, in Miami, if you get there and if you don't speak Spanish or Latino, you're not even welcome in Miami. And I'm like, excuse me, this is the United States of America, sir. How do you have the permission to drive an Uber and you don't speak English? And if you guys don't listen to me, I've already been through the ringer, and I know most of you don't respect me because you think it's so funny to like deny yourselves like your own freedom and your own constitution, but it's not. And I went to the Venice quarters, and when you stand there in Venice Beach on the boardwalk and it's midnight and you have those like bicycle white people in the like full-on bike suit that are riding around and waiting for the Latino gang to like move out the way when they finally decide to then approach me and speak English with me. And when they finally do, they all tell me that they have been extremely diminished and extremely bullied by those, outside races, be it, because in LA they have a lot of Russians, Germans, French, yada yada, Latinos, Jamaicans. And these people are vile because they took too much face. And so these people have kicked all the white people out of their dwellings, and now all the white people live inland in small mansions. They can never even leave the house until past midnight if they ever want to ride a bike, because the whole place is now completely ruled by those cultures that now here on the East Coast, you don't even know what you're doing, but you're giving them complete full power. And the church thought that I was possessed when I got divine guidance that I am Aurora, but Stephen Ministry has lied to the churches to get away, to save face, to not say that he loves me and doesn't love her, to not be seen in public with me because I'm a public shame. I mean, truly, there's limits, and I have literally now, this is like the limits have been reached, way past the threshold. I'm going to post this, and just because I also wish to say to all the Phoenix girls that, you can relate to me. I grew up there, and I just all want you to know that, I know we were all supposed to by now, as the Phoenix leaders we are, to be taking over every continent we've ever been through and give all these men our love, our knowledge in cooking, and how kind we are, how charming, how beautiful, how faithful, how loyal, how subservient, how real we are as women, and how greatly we've been raised. And we were to share all this with these people and help them enhance their health and everything. Instead, we are shunned. We have been blown away by the, terrorist invasion, starting the Holiday Inn Express here with the Tennessee crew, AT&T. They blew up AT&T, then they blew up the port in Jamaica to almost kill my brother because I didn't suck Brendan's dick. In very honest words, like that's what happened. But, these people here, they're desensitized. They only think in terms of racism, and, they think that it's all about nigger versus non-nigger, and do you eat sperm before food or food before sperm? They don't know nothing about the real world in America. So I urge any international community to please forgive the Biden administration, because he does not know. He is a very, behind the scenes, they're very innocent. They're just working to save face and to, try to do it another day, like to the extent whereby I went into the army bases in Beaufort, and I'm like, I'm Aurora with immigration. I gave him a card. I'm like, I've already been guided in BCGC for a month here while I was performing surgeries every day for the new chambers of light to, try to not let your little children go and get blown up in external wars in wherever you send them. If we can perfect the tech from here, you don't even need to lift a finger or take a plane or move anywhere, because whatever you're trying to establish overseas can be established like right here, right now. We are the shift we wish to see. It's an instant shift. You don't need to travel. You need to do nothing. You don't even need to buy a gun. I already told the army that my bases that are etheric are way more powerful than you can ever muster or imagine. So the problem is, Stephen, like Lucifer and I, we never really spoke mission, because the whole time he was with me, he was really busy on his phone trying to get Cordoba to mock me with the Latino gang and try to pretend that I'm such a loser. And that's the difference between the Latino girls and us. Like, the Phoenix Girls, if we think that Britney Spears is so cool, we're gonna attempt, we have respect for beings, and we don't mock people like, hey, she's blonde, so she's stupid, so she's a fucking prostitute, so we're gonna ruin her reputation, and we're gonna do all the fag, hag, short, fucking hairy, ugly, fucking trashy, thief Latino girls to all mock this girl, and we're gonna get all the Latino people to all mock this girl because she had the audacity to actually be the shift and to experiment the other side. No, we are daring and we are real, okay? And I speak on behalf of we, even all you Lebanese people, you all betrayed me too, but I still have your back because you don't deserve to be treated as such. And if I was betrayed twice at the altar, it does not mean that any of you is not worthy of having the best marriage ever and a real marriage. I'm not just talking about la 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 hoop-de-doo. Also, one more last point I want to mention is that like this morning, at my twin flame's door, since he doesn't open, I tried to call Melissa Rogers, and she's no longer on the team or on board. I had performed the surgery for her, so obviously she quit because, she's a Charleston girl, and they're also paid here by Caitlin Gretzinger and the Germans and Cordoba to, deny that I am Aurora at any cost and to deny everything I've provided for them. So they had this guy that, responded to the call. And then he called me back and he's like, let's pick back up the charges for the simple possession, because now I understand Trump came into the picture to do the Aurora Morningstar thingy. Now I do appreciate all the political innuendos and things that are going on, but now in the present moment, the only thing anybody needs to know is that the whole Biden setup is anti-constitutional.